Cliff Oldman, and I also teach algebra.
So, Cliff, we were looking this week at RuneScape in my class. What do you think about that?
RuneScape, I've never heard of that. Is that one of these new Atari games that's going around?
Yeah, Cliff, no, it's not. Don't you ever talk to your students?
Well, no. Lecture time. There's no participation on the students' part. They need to be listening during lecture time, not talking.
They don't participate?
They write down what I say.
Exactly what you say?
They write down what I say, and I feel that that's the best way to process the information. I build the lecture from the textbook, and it's specifically designed for the textbook tests, and I feel that better prepares them for real-world experiences.
Oh, good, for real experience. So what real examples do you use?
The textbook has numerous examples that are in it, and when those examples come up, I read them to the class.
Oh, that's good. So you never ask the kids what they're interested in, what kind of things that they're doing, so you can incorporate the lesson?
Actually, that question is in the textbook, but I skip that step because I don't have time for that.
Well, if you don't have time, then you're probably going to hate what I'm going to say now. Have you heard that some of the kids, they like to play this game RuneScape, where they have a little avatar and they're running around this little world? You think you could use that in your classroom?
Well, I don't know how I can fit that in with the lecture time and the test time and attendance. It's too much.
Do you think it would be possible to maybe reduce some of the test time to have game time?
Well, then I don't think the students would pay attention during the lecture if they don't take as many tests.
Oh, okay. Well, how about we try and use the game RuneScape to teach the standards? What do you think about that?
Well, does that mean with the textbook, instead of the textbook? I mean, we can't throw out the textbook, can we?
I don't know, could we? Hey, in RuneScape, if the kids were to do this, it would give you some common elements to talk about with them. You could all do it together. It could be a bonding experience.
Well, I feel like the textbook, we all use the same textbook. I don't see there's any problem with that. I think the students enjoyed the textbook.
Well, in RuneScape, you can have the students perform some tasks and relate that to the algebra standards.
What do you mean tasks? You mean like they're doing work in the video game?
Well, here's how I can assess their understanding of like terms. So what if I had each of the students go out and collect different things, like a pot and some fish and some logs and some oak logs, okay? And so all the students have these different things in their backpack. But then I ask them to individually split it up. So they have to have logs, but another kid has oak logs. So maybe they could then understand the relationship between x and x squared. They kind of look the same, but they're not really the same. So we have the idea of collecting like terms by spreading out amongst the students. That could be a way for them to show understanding.
Wow, all of that by collecting a few logs. That sounds good.
So, how about for linear inequalities is, in RuneScape, you're going to find certain things in certain areas. And you're not going to find those things in other areas. So if I gave them a task, they would have to go to the area that sells or manufactures those kinds of items so they can understand the concept of boundaries and where the solutions are versus where the solutions are not. What do you think about that?
Wow. So that what you're telling me is the XY intercept is actually on their field of play, and they can operate with coordinates as if they were graphing equations. Is that right?
That's what I was thinking that we could do.
Wow. I'd never thought of doing that. I thought the students liked graph paper. I didn't think that they would actually want to travel from point A to point B, that they would never actually be doing something as useful as that. And I thought, well, they just like drawing things with the graph paper.
Yeah, paper and pencil. That has been a pretty good staple, but maybe we could think outside of the paper and pencil. When they are working on their skills, like hatcheting down a tree, I bet you there's a linear equation behind that.
Wow. Well, I would definitely like to learn more about that linear equation, log chopping tree.
Exactly. So, we can assess the students what they know and tie it to algebra standards and have fun. Wouldn't that be great?
Well, not too much fun, just a little bit.
Just a little bit of fun?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, and this has been fun.